Hey, thanks for joining. Welcome to Improving the Daily Scrum. We've been working with teams around the organization and have found that one of the things they're interested in is how to improve their daily Scrum. So in today's video, we're going to go through two different methods and a couple of techniques that you might try with your teams for the daily Scrum. First, let's talk about the most common technique, the round robin. This is the one where all of the team members join together in front of a Scrum board and everyone on the development team takes turns and they talk about three different things. They discuss what I did yesterday, what I plan to do today, and what's impeding my success. This method can be very effective, and I'd love to give you some tips about how to make it even more effective. If you'll notice in the picture on the left, the Scrum Master is in the middle of the daily Scrum, and he's basically getting information from people. I hear Scrum Masters all the time say, my daily Scrums keep turning into status reports. How do I fix it? Number one suggestion is for the Scrum Master to step outside of the circle and stop facilitating. Remember, the daily Scrum is for the development team to come up with a plan for how it's going to do its work over the next 24 hours until they meet again. So this is a meeting for the development team to collaborate. The Scrum Master is not a required participant, but it's a really great idea for them to be there so they can hear impediments and so that they can keep their pulse on what's going on with the team. The product owner also is to be an observer and should stand on the outside of the circle. That way they're there and they're close and ready for the team if the team should have a question for the product owner while it's doing its planning. When doing the round robin method, it's really important to remember a couple of things. You don't have to account for every minute of the day. When you talk about what you did yesterday, the purpose of that conversation point is to talk about the important things that happened in the stories or the tasks that you were working on that the rest of the team needs to understand today in order to move forward in its work. A second point is that the team, the dev team, should be the people who are updating the task on the board or in Rally and whatever tool you're using so that they can talk to those points. So the round robin, just like any other method, has some pros and it also has some cons. One of the big pros of the round robin method is that every dev team member has an opportunity to speak about the work they're doing, about the impediments they're encountering, and about what happened yesterday, what they accomplished and need to communicate to the team. Because we go in a round robin fashion, everyone specifically has a turn to talk. The round robin method also has some cons. One of the cons is that the round robin method tends to cause the team to focus on individual tasks that they're working on rather than having a whole story or a whole sprint focus. Another thing that happens sometimes is that because we're talking about tasks in random stories as we go around the circle, sometimes the full plan understanding of what we're going to do together today gets obscured. One con that I've noticed in teams is that doing the daily Scrum in this manner tends to promote an individual ownership. Team members tend to look at the work they're doing, focus on the work they're doing, and they're accountable for that work, but they tend to lose focus on what the rest of the team is doing and don't always bind together as a full team to be able to deliver the work. Another down point of this round robin method is that it's very easy to fall into status reporting and to lose some of the collaboration that the team really needs to succeed. Let's look at another method. The second method I'd like to talk to you today about is walking the wall. The walking the wall method is pretty simple. Basically, you have your Scrum board that you use on the wall, whether it's from your electronic tool or a paper board on the wall. And the team starts at the top of the wall with the first unclosed story and they discuss the stories one at a time. They collaborate to determine who needs to do what today in order to bring the story closer to completion. So conversations might be, you should really stop working on that story and come help us with this story. It might be something like, well, we finished development on these 2 tasks yesterday. We're ready to start testing who's going to test, and then people volunteer to test. And the discussion around how are we going to finish today is the outcome of that collaboration. When using the walking the wall method, there's a few tips that can help you be successful in the delivery of your work. The first is to remember that the team should swarm its work. Swarming is when multiple people work on one story together in order to focus on completing work rather than opening more work. Remember to work on the highest priority stories first. And by limiting your work in progress, it's more likely that you will finish stories instead of ending your sprint with multiple open stories. Taking that workload and focusing them on the highest priority stories and closing those as you go down the line helps to actually bring value delivery each sprint. Discuss yesterday only in the context of what the team needs to know today about each story that's open. Don't forget, as you're talking, to make sure to let the rest of the team know when you have a story that's been closed or accepted so the whole team can celebrate. In your discussions, make sure to raise impediments and discuss how you're going to resolve those and who you need. Don't forget your Scrum Master is close by. Confirm that everybody understands the plan for the day. If you have questions about some of the work, make sure to reach out to your product owner. And make sure before you're done to check in with one another and confirm that the whole team understands what the plan is for the day. Like any other method, the walking the wall method has some pros and it also has some cons. So some of the pros are that it causes the team to focus on a story and on sprint completion rather than single task and individual ownership. It promotes full team ownership. It helps the team to build a cohesive 24-hour plan for what are we going to do until the next time we meet. And it also promotes collaboration, which is something that is very valuable for team success. Some of the cons of walking the wall is that people might slip through the cracks if they're not working on the stories in a sprint, or if they don't really feel like they need to mention what they've done or what they're doing today. So make sure to ask around before leaving your daily scrum. Hey, does everybody know what they're doing today? Or do we all have work to do, or are we all ready to go? That way the team can leave the daily scrum ready for action. And don't forget to discuss impediments. Oftentimes when using this method, impediments get forgotten. I hope that you've enjoyed this video today and that it was helpful to you. Please be sure to comment so we'll know what other videos you'd like to see in our training hub. Thank you.